Oh,
All right, my name is Occupational Click, or so I call myself, and today my brother and I are going to do some autistic broiling. But first, I'm going to take this pill. They gave me one thing to use some time ago. It's called a Concerta. I forget what it does. I think it's a ADHD pill. I have to sign it. It doesn't matter. All right, that's good. So hit pause. So I've got some sausages here, and normally I would throw them on the grill, but we're still in a drought. And it's kind of dark right now. It's getting darker. We're losing daylight. So we're going to attempt to broil these in the oven. But the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to talk about my life as well as it broils. Can you hold this, buddy? Here, I'll start the process. Of course, as I like to do, I like to butterfly it. And you know, when I do this on the grill, you know, I cut it halfway down the middle, not quite in half, but like 95%, and slit them. And you open them up, butterfly them, and we're going to attempt to do this in a gas oven with the high heat of the broiler flame. So hit pause. Okay, so the sausages have all been butterflied, so I can open them up. I'm going to go to this oven, which I need to clean because it's filthy. And down there I have a collection pan in case any, you know, grease or other grime leaks down. Yeah, I know it's filthy. What I'm going to do, I'm going to take out the top shelf. The broiler unit is right up there. I'm going to take out this top shelf, and I'm going to wrap the back in tin foil, and the tin foil will act as the main guard for all the fat and grease leaking off the sausage, and anything that gets past that can drip down into the what I call the collection pan. So why don't we do that? Actually, I got some Reynolds wrap, kind of old. What I do, I feel like Julia Child's here. Turn the shelf over, wrap it from this side, wrap it from the bottom, and I'm going to use probably 3 sheets. I'm not sure. It depends. How's that? Is that right?
that looks good.
Now this box is old. Make sure you get a pair of scissors because hold on a minute. Keep it on the floor.
Yes.
And the tin foil will do 2 things in theory. I've never done this with sausages. We're gonna try this. 2 things. One, it'll act as the collection. You know. So with broiling, as far as I can tell, just means cooking on high heat, whether it's a flame or an electrical filament. Broiling means high cooking from above. But if you put it in like a pan, let's say you put the sausages into a pan, you're effectively frying it. There's really no difference. Whether, you know, frying is on top of the stove. Frying and broiling in a pan is the same thing. It's cooking its own juices. By doing this, we're effectively broil grilling. I call it broiling grilling. We're going to turn this shelf into a grill or a grate, and, you know, instead of cooking in its own juices, the bacon, or in this case the sausage, because I was Freudian slip. I wanted to do bacon wrapped in sausage, but we don't have any bacon. But anyway, the crap you're broiling.
You mean sausage wrapped in bacon?
What did I say?
You said bacon wrapped in sausage.
It's funny. I took that pill.
Yes.
My brother is correcting my.
Let's blame the pill.
Let's blame the pill. The pill. Now, but also the other thing, buddy. In addition to acting as a collection for all the crud and all the juices that spill off. It'll also retain heat to make sure that the sausage is going to cook from the broiler flame up top, but the tin foil will retain heat, I think. And I'm going to do 3, buddy. What did I say? So we're making sausage. I dream of sausage wrapped in bacon, but we don't have any goddamn bacon. But I don't know if you can do it together at the same time. I can fry the bacon separately and then wrap it after. I'm not sure if it would cook evenly like you were saying. But anyway, we're going to use a 3rd piece right here because there's this break between them, and that's usually where the problems come in and stuff drips down because although we've never done sausage, we've broiled other things like hamburgers came out pretty well. What else? Hamburgers,
hot dogs,
some
steaks.
Yeah, so yeah. Yeah, the steaks, I did those in a pan or a tray. And they were good, but like I said, they effectively cooked in their own juices. Sort of like, what's the point? Might as well just fry them up. By doing this, now effectively, this shelf here, this is like the grill or the grill grate, and the stuff will just leak down. Instead of marinating, hey, pause, I gotta redo this.
Okay.
Okay, I figured I might as well just turn it around. A little too much foil on the side, but the shelf is interchangeable. So I'm gonna turn it around. There we go. There we got our shelf. All right, that should go in easy. And then we come up here, and there's really no way to preheat for broiling, so I'm just gonna choose the broil option. Put it on high. There's a high and a low. Put it on high, and what'll happen is that flame will eventually kick on. It hasn't kicked on yet, and I think I'll actually leave this in. I'm not gonna put the sausage on yet. I'll leave that in just so it gets a little heat on it, and we'll put the sausages on. Sound good? Okay, the broiler flame has kicked on. That's heating up. I'm going to pull this out now. It's not too hot yet. And I'll put the sausages on. And what I'll do, close that up so the heat stays inside. And as opposed to baking where the whole oven heats up but it's slow, this is effectively an overhead heat source. So we're going to try it. And I in my experience, it's best to keep items as close because there's several. You can put you can adjust the shelf. The closest to the flame, it's about 6 or 7 inches, is probably the best shelf. We'll just keep an eye on it. So we'll let that heat up, and we'll put some sausages on the shelf.
Okay.
All right, so we got, what did you say, it was 14?
Yes.
So they're butterflied, opened up. We'll put them like this. And hopefully as these cook, instead of cooking in its own juices, the juice will leak down onto the aluminum. Anything that misses the aluminum will fall into that bottom collection tray there. And the aluminum will retain the heat. Now, we might have to flip these, put it in for a couple minutes and see what happens.
Yes.
As you can see... Hold on 1 sec. Let me keep this, make sure this foil doesn't fall off. Could have done a better job foiling. I foiled my own foil plan. So there we go. Okay. So we'll put on the topmost shelf. Topmost slat. Slide that in. And remember, the ones in the middle will be closer to the flame, so we'll keep an eye on them. We got that going?
Yep.
And I don't know how long we're supposed to leave them in for, but we'll keep an eye. We'll just flip them in a few minutes and we'll use your thermometer. So. Now, while I'm waiting for that, I'm going to talk about my own crap. I got a couple of things from Social Security. Now, remember, for those who've been paying attention, I decided it would be easier to go with a lawyer to get SSDI for several reasons. I thought, okay, it's not SSI, it's SSDI, right?
Okay.
And so went with a lawyer, but now I'm not so sure about this lawyer because what I did was, first of all, SSDI, of course, is the one you've paid into, and they say it's harder to get than SSI. So I thought, okay, maybe start off with a lawyer. Plus, I figured there might be a lot of paperwork. And when I called these people, what happened was I went online and I found there's this, I guess you call him an agent or a broker called Atticus. And Atticus isn't a lawyer, but it's like, lawyers pay them and they're headhunters. So I contacted Atticus. They specialize in finding you, a disability lawyer. There's no fee. The attorneys pay to be, it's basically an advertising service. And I told them, autism, ADHD, PTSD, GAD, avoidant personality, etc. And they said, okay, based on what you told us, we found a place for you. They recommended me to some attorneys down in Georgia. And I was speaking with them, and they asked me a bunch of questions. They filed this on my behalf, and I said, you guys will handle all the paperwork. They said, yeah, if you win, it's contingency. You don't pay us anything. But if you win, we take X% out of your first payment, because you'll get back pay. I said, fine, it's worth it if you're going to handle all the paperwork. So I thought it would be fairly straightforward. So they filed on my behalf. And now what I'm coming to realize is I wished I filed myself, because I got 2 things from Social Security. And I asked this law firm, I said, listen, is Social Security going to send me anything or expect anything from me or from here on out? I gave them my job history. I gave them my diagnoses. I gave them the neurologist and the psychiatrist, psychiatrist. I gave them all information. They said, no, we're going to take it from here. And I said, but, I'm in New Jersey. You're in Georgia. How's this going to work? And they were like, oh, it doesn't matter. Most of it's done virtually, and if need be, the attorney will come up to you. He goes all over the country. So I said, fine. Because it's weird. One time, well, let's take a look at the sausages while we keep rolling. How are they looking? Still, they're nowhere near done. But it looks like the ones in the back they've only been in for about 4 or 5 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Want to flip them or let them go another few minutes?
Let's do 2 more minutes and we'll flip them.
As I was saying, once upon a time, I think about a year ago when I was first diagnosed, I called a bunch of local attorneys, and they all basically gave me the runaround. They said, we won't take this case because all kinds of things like that. You're under 50. 50 is the magic number. Or we prefer to do physical stuff, not, mental stuff. So I couldn't find a local place to represent me. That was over a year ago, so I sort of gave up. And I've been going through a lot, being fired, being triggered, because once again, workplace violence, the occupational clicks. I thought, well, maybe the time is now, and this lawyer can handle all this bullshit. But I got this shit from Social Security, 2 different packages here, and without doxing myself, they want me to complete. It's just the forms. It's really for us, buddy. So we look back and say, okay, they want an SSA 16, SSA 827. These are forms, a 16 and a 27, which they've included. One is authorization to disclose information. That's the 827. Fair enough. You can fill a little form, sign it. I can do that. No problem. Another, that's the 827. What's the 16? I think this is the 16. It doesn't say 16. I don't know which one this is. See, I thought the lawyer would do all this. I thought I would, this one is go through this, confirm your address, income, blah, 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 blah. These 2, I said, okay, I can understand Social Security wanting you to confirm it's you, etc. So I'm like, okay, I can handle these 2. The Social Security Form 16 and the Form 827. So 16, 827. You with me so far, buddy?
Yes.
And then they sent me this jumbo thing. And I'll tell you about this in a moment. But before I do, let's go back. And remember, again, this isn't the lawyer. I contacted the lawyer. The lawyer filed for SSDI on my behalf. And they said, yeah, you might have to sign a form or 2, but other than that, no, we handle everything. I said, great. So this next package is weird. And all right, let's look at the sausage. It's only been another minute or so. What do you think? Why don't you flip the plate safe?
Let's flip them. Take it out. Let's flip them.
Give me a sec. Sorry, you can hold here. Keep the camera rolled while I get some tongs.
Yep, see that flame?
Because we don't, the thing about broiling or baking with ovens, things look raw, but then once you take them out, they like hyper cook. You know what I mean? So looks can be deceiving. So I'm going to use this. But see, here's what I'm talking about. They smell pretty good. Notice, it's a little disgusting. See that juice down there? Rather than cooking the sausage in its own juice, as you would in a frying pan or, a pan in the oven, this way, the juice, just like on a grill, the juice falls down. So it's not cooking within its own juice. Now these don't look particularly well cooked, but now we're going to flip them. So the bottom side should be redder because it wasn't exposed to the flame. It should look rawer. So we're going to flip these over, and then we'll expose the underbelly, that which was hidden, to the open flame atop. But I think that they smell good. I will say that. They smell pretty good. And you've got your thermometer. You can check the temperatures when we're done. And I don't know how many flips. Sometimes you have to flip them twice. So we'll do this one flip. We'll see how it comes out. Another 5-6 minutes. But what is a recommended, because you got your thermometer, what is the recommended for sausage? Recommended
155.
temperature? 155. Okay. Okay, good. So flip those. I'm going to put them back in. We're going to go back to Social Security talk. That's what this video is really about. Hold on. But again, see, I did a shitty tinfoiling job. But that's why we have that collection pan on the bottom. In case the tinfoil falls apart or I screw something up, it can droop down onto that. See that? See, it's dripping onto the aluminum. Worst case, if there's a break in the aluminum or someplace where it comes apart, it'll leak down into that collection tray, whatever you want to call that. You see the collection tray? Come on, buddy. Collection tray. Come on.
Yes.
Christ. All right. So I don't mind filling out a form or 2, but I thought the lawyer, what's the point of having a lawyer? So the Social Security sent me the second fucking thing, which I want to look through. I mean, there's some good information here, like, blah, 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 blah. It's good, but I thought the lawyer was, I thought that's the whole point. You're going to take a chunk of my earnings if I get approved. So the first one wanted me to fill out, what were those forms? I should write them down. The 16 and the 827, was that it? 16, 827? Yeah, the first one's asking for an SSA 16 form and an SSA 827. SSA simply means Social Security Administration. All their forms start with SSA. So SSA 16. So Form 16, Form 827. Fairly straightforward. Then I get this stupid thing. This, like, Mojo package. Which I had to break. You helped me, buddy. We had to break this. We looked through it. We broke it up into, like, different sections. It was like a 14-page thing. And this, in addition to the 16 and 27, this is asking me to fill out, let's see, an SSA 8240, an Internet Application Summary, and there was something else. There were 3 things. There's this chunk here. This is I gotta look through this Internet Application Summary. see if there are any, mistakes. But this is pretty involved, and what really triggered, I thought there was a third thing. 2 in that one, 3 in this one. 8240 Internet Application Summary, and I could have sworn, here's the 827. No, 827, interesting. Let's get our, okay, all right, so this is asking for the 827, but they sent in this one. These two came in back to back. Okay, the point is, while I could theoretically do these, I had 2 problems. One, I'm all in a mental state, so I figured best to have a lawyer handle this. But if I got to do all this shit anyway, why am I hiring a lawyer? The next problem I have is on one of these forms, I looked through them, it says flat out, okay, an internet application has been filed on your behalf for SSDI, and it was filed by a third-party law firm. All that's correct, and it lists the law firm. And it's like, if I choose to dump the law firm, how do I cancel this claim out and start a new one? Because what it then said to me, it says, okay, we need all of your pay stubs for the years 2023 and 2024. Now, remember, when it comes to my job history over the past 2 years, let's look at the sausage and we'll continue. Looking goodish, betterish.
On
Flip
their
them
way.
again. Give them a minute or two and flip. What do you want
Yeah.
to flip now, or what do we do?
A couple more minutes.
Okay, we don't want them overdone.
No, we don't.
Okay, so they want, in 2023, I had the 2 jobs. Beginning of the year, I was working at the furniture store, and I was working at the grocery store. And I pretty much worked there all year, from January to December. And Christmas Day, I wound up, you remember, buddy, I wound up going to the hospital Christmas morning. Starting sometime in November, every time I would cough, I felt like someone kicked me in the side. Long story short, inferior epigastric artery tear, Christmas Day. Never went back to either the grocery store job, never went back to the furniture store job. Left on good terms, which is rare for me, because most jobs end poorly for me, but in theory I could always go back. I explained to them, listen, I've injured myself. They understood. I said, I can't work right now. I took a few months off, got my temporary disability. Okay. In 2024, this current year, I then went to work at that auto parts place. After I healed up and my temporary disability ran out, I went to go work at that auto parts place. So I've had, over the past 2 years, 23, 24, I've had 3 different jobs. And, I think some of the pay stubs are online. Others, I used to get a paper stub, I would scan it. I think I have them, but how the hell am I supposed to go into Social Security with what, like 52 weeks a year? So what is that, 104 pay stubs from 23 between the 2 jobs? Because I worked there pretty much for Christmas Day. So, okay, maybe it was only 51 weeks because that last week I didn't work. So, no, actually, no, it would have been paid out the fund. See, I got 52 weeks in a year times 2 jobs. That's 104 pay stubs, plus however many, dozens and dozens I have from the auto parts place. And when I applied, when I contacted this lawyer down in Georgia, they asked me all this. Okay, we just need to know where you worked in 23 and 24. And I told them, I provided them all this information. And they said, don't worry, we'll handle everything. Social Security wants me to bring in every fucking pay stub for the past 2 years from 23, 24. So now it's like I'm thinking to myself, remember, I've been fired. I'm unemployed again. This year started off with me injured. I worked at the auto parts like a sandwich. Temporary disability, so temporary needing. It's like a temporary neat work sandwich, right? Temporary needing is the bread. Working is the sausage. We're having a sausage sandwich.
Yes.
So I was temporarily needing on what they call TDI, temporary disability, because of my injury when the year began. New Year's Day, that's where I was. I worked at that auto parts place for all those months. Now I've been fired, and now I'm back to the bread of temporarily needing on unemployment. So would it be easier, part of me is thinking, instead of bringing in all of my 23 and 24 stubs, and now Social Security it's a bureaucracy. They're not going to accept an email submission or a flash drive. They're going to want physical copies. Do I just wait till January of 25? Because right now it's what, mid-November, mid to late November of 24. If I give it another 6 or 7 weeks, we'll be into New Year's. Clock will reset, and if I apply then, they'll say, okay, it's 2025. We need all your work history for 24 and 25. 23 should drop off. So if 23 drops off, I don't have to worry about the furniture store or the supermarket. Those can drop off. But if I'm doing this, if the onus is on me, then why am I paying a fucking lawyer? And their name is on one of the forms. It says flat out, this attorney, this law firm down in Georgia has filed on your behalf. Is that correct? So what it told me is that if you're not interested in benefits, simply ignore this. But if you are, you must fill these out. The sooner the better. Now, I've also had another problem. Another reason I'm thinking about going solo, at least for now. I've tried to contact this lawyer because I wanted to ask them about this stuff, about pay stubs and whatnot. They don't return calls. They were so friendly when this first started. They told me, we'll apply on your behalf and then we'll get back to you in a few months and it's going to take some time, but we'll handle all the paperwork. I said, fine. Sounds great. And they said, it doesn't matter if we're in a different state because it's all federal. I said, okay, fine. Whatever. It sounded good. If I'm going to do all this shit, I need their... people have lost claims. I mean, they've applied and lost and appealed and whatnot. But this is unusual. I filed. I'm just in the the early stages. I want to pull out. So I've called the lawyer several times, left several messages. They don't return my calls. I guess I go to Social Security, an office in person, because it's still very much a bureaucracy, and say, listen, I still want to apply for benefits, but I want to cancel this claim. Cancel it out. I don't know if there's like a waiting period. Do I have to wait to reapply? I don't know. If I tell them, listen, contacted the lawyer, I don't trust them anymore, I want to apply of my own volition without their name, because their name is on this form. I want it to say, no one else's name, just occupational click. Can I cancel this out? Do I have to wait X amount of months? But I want to now wait till January 1st, or just into New Year's, because I believe it goes every 2 calendar years. So instead of 23-24 with all those pay stubs from furniture and furniture shop and supermarket, you understand what I'm saying? Let's go back to the damned oven here, the broiling. All right, let me pull this out. Sounds like it's a good sizzle.
Yes.
Now, how does it look to you, buddy? And I can reverse this. And I can move them around. They're looking cooked-ish.
Why don't you get that thermometer?
I think they're.
Okay, let's do one more flip.
We can flip and test as that. They look like they're cooking, but they don't look fully cooked. There's still like a raw look to them. But they do smell very good. And you got that sausagey,
Yes.
And maybe I can put the shelf in the opposite way if I can fit it in. Also, another thing, when I flip them with the tongs, I'm jabbing trying not to, but I'm jabbing some of the tin foil. See, this tin foil will fall apart. But the whole point of the tin foil, part of it is to have, a secondary source of heat, because the tin foil will heat up and will heat the other side in theory, but mainly a collection to prevent the oil or the greases from dripping down. Yeah, if I put these in, I can't tell if I flip through it. If I put these in like a pan or something, you might as well fry them up because you're just cooking it in its own oils, which I'm trying to avoid because it's not that I don't like frying, or it's not that I don't like the oils, it's just I have high cholesterol and high triglycerides, and Papa Click had that stroke and all that shit, and I don't want history to repeat. Did I forget to flip one? Or I lose track. These guys. See, this one's looking. The ones in the middle are close to the flame.
Yes.
Maybe I should go nuts and move things around. Should I do this?
Possibly, yeah, that's a good idea.
All right, hit pause. I'll do that one.
Okay.
Okay, so what I did, remember, the flame is right here. It's down the center, top center, right? So the sausages in the middle of the rack are going to get more flame on them than the ones in the outer periphery. So I switched them. These were in the middle. I've moved them to the outer. And these, which were on the outer periphery, are now centered. So hopefully I'll make sure they cook a bit more evenly. Get these to have some cook. But they're coming along nicely. So I'll put them back in for... We don't overdo it. You can be surprised. You think it needs 5 minutes. It only needs 3. Maybe so there's a sweet spot. It makes all the difference. But... Okay. I'll close that up. All right. We'll go back to talking... What was I talking about? Remind me.
You got to get all the W-2s and the pay stubs and whatnot.
But if I'm doing that much work, you know what I'm saying?
Well, I have the lawyer. Yeah.
I could do it, but I've been going through a lot. I'm getting older. I just can't believe this shit happened again. The workplace bullshit. And it's like, well, if someone else can handle this. Now, I read online, a lot of people said getting SSDI, the toughest part isn't this shit. It's, your disability form. So maybe I should just try it myself. Try it by myself, see what the process is, and then retain a lawyer. So my question, how do I fire these people? Because right now, we've got a preliminary application. And it says, from Social Security, saying, if you've changed your mind, you don't want benefits, don't submit this. But please, time is of the essence. Now, Social Security has to give you some amount of time. So if I took these and I did nothing, put them in a drawer, forgot about them, just let them ride, don't fill them out, I would imagine within 6 months to a year, they'd be inactive and you have to start again. That makes sense. But I don't want to wait that long. I want to cancel these out because let's say I do all the work myself. I do all this work myself, but the law firm, the name of the lawyer in Georgia, is still attached to these documents. They're going to get 20% of the cut even though I'm doing the work. So I want to cancel this out. I don't even fill these out because they have the lawyer's name. You know, these are Social Security forms. They have the lawyer's name. I'm going to cancel these out, start anew, and file my own goddamn claim. I guess I should have done from the get-go. And I guess I got to wait. First, I got to learn how to cancel this out, get rid of the lawyer. And then, and maybe that's why they're not answering my calls. They see I haven't submitted the form to Social Security yet. And this law firm is saying, well, if he hasn't submitted yet, then, you know. But I also want, we're not going to answer his call. But I also wanted their help because, like, how do I get my doctor's notes, like my shrink? How do I get his notes? He won't give them to me. I thought a law firm could subpoena them. So maybe I should keep the damn, I don't know. I don't, what do you think, buddy?
Good point.
I don't know.
Maybe.
Because I have all the paperwork from the neuropsych when I was diagnosed. But how do I get like a year and a half's worth of psychologist notes to, you know, because that could help. It could, I mean, you know, the guy's kind of an ass. He doesn't really, oh, I think you can do better. You don't need, neat bucks. He doesn't use that term. You don't need government aid. But I'm like, dude, there's some gems in there that could help my case. But I can't just say, hey, man, send it to Social Security. He won't do it. He would need something official, like something that's, you know.
Legal.
Unless Social Security themselves request the form once I put the information. Because they asked me, the lawyer asked me, okay, what are your jobs? And I told them my job for 23 and 24. I told them that. And then they said, oh, okay, and who are the different doctors and whatnot that are involved? They told me, well, there's a neuropsych, a psychiatrist, and a psychologist. And they said, okay, we'll gather up all the information. So, I don't know. Like, I feel like the lawyers really need it for, like, the next step. So, I don't know. But I don't want them... So, I don't have to provide... And if I don't provide the stubs, come January 1st, will they still need the 2023 stubs? Or once the calendar resets to 2025, are the 23s no longer necessary? Because that's a lot of paperwork that I'd rather not bring in this late in the year. So, you see I'm in this weird, rock in a hard place. But anyway, I'm going to pull these out and we're going to test them.
Yeah.
We're going to switch it up. I'll take the camera. I'm talking with the southern one. Watch me pull it out. They're looking cooked-ish. They might need a few more minutes, but not a lot. I don't know if I should flip one. See all that? Look at all that juice on the aluminum, the tin foil. See that? See all that juice? If we'd used I'm going to say it one more time. I know it's repetitive. Had we used a freaking pan, we might as well just fry it up because it would be cooking its own juices. We're trying to recreate the grill inside because it's too dark and too dry to go grilling. I don't want to grill on the stovetop again because you get smoke everywhere. What are we getting here? Oh, wow. Wow, it's supposed to be 150? 155? You got what, 190? Maybe we put them in for too long. That's another thing. Once they look like they're undercooked, but after they sit out in the open air for like, a couple minutes, they might start to shrivel up like hot dogs. Wow. How long were they in there? Do you remember what time we started? It was about 5 o'clock? It's 5.
It was 4:50.
Oh, so they've been in there for 25 minutes? Might as well just bake them at that point, but... I don't know, baking doesn't have that same, that juicy... Are they all coming up at well above 150?
Oh, yeah.
So I think they're done. Now the question becomes, do I shut the broiler off or do we broil something else up? We got some, well, maybe we will. I don't know. So anyway, okay, so I think maybe these have to cool, like my brother was saying. They're all cooked. They're all going well over. What would you get?
155. I got like close to 200.
Right, so they're supposed to be 155. We're well over that. And we tried it both on and off because we thought maybe the excess heat was affecting it. So, but even on this paper plate, these are cooked.
Yes,
you can say.
yes.
So I'm not really hungry yet, and these have to cool, and we still got the broiler on. So maybe we'll throw in something else. Let's see here.